A Russian military train exploded after being hit by a mine that derailed its tracks. The Russian military may be involved. An explosion in the western region of Bryansk bordering Ukraine derailed a Russian freight train on Monday, the local governor said on Russian television. An unidentified explosive device exploded, causing the locomotive of a freight train to derail, Bryansk Governor Alexander Bogomaz said, stressing that no casualties were reported. Fox. Initially, local authorities said the derailed train was transporting fuel and construction materials. However, images shared on social media show some tank wagons lying on their sides, revealing ammunition and other weapons of war. Dark gray smoke rose into the air at the derailment site, about 92 kilometers north of Russia's border with Ukraine. It is not clear who is responsible for the attack. The Latvian-based anti-Putin group's media outlet Meduza said it did not rule out the possibility that the incident involved the Russian military. At least provide information, or explosives, and more seriously participate directly. They want the war in Ukraine to end after seeing that all hope is gone. There has been an increase in incidents involving Russia's rail system in the 14 months since Vladimir Putin ordered the invasion of Ukraine. According to the independent Russian website Mediazona, Russian authorities have arrested at least 66 Russians on suspicion of railway sabotage since last fall. In another development, the governor of Russia's Leningrad region near St. Petersburg said a power line blew up Sunday night and Monday morning, May 1st, and an explosive device was found near the second line. 2. Intelligence Bulletin of the UK Department of Defence Intelligence. In the latest intelligence report, the UK Department of Defence Intelligence said the following. Since the summer of 2022, Russia has built some of the largest military defense structures seen anywhere in the world in decades. These defenses are not only close to the current front lines, but are also dug deep inside areas that Russia currently controls. The image shows that Russia has made a special effort to fortify the northern border of the invaded Crimea, including a multi-layered defensive area near the village of Medvedevka. Russia has also dug hundreds of miles of trenches within Russia's internationally recognized borders, including the Belgorod and Kursk regions. These defensive measures highlight the deep concern among Russian leaders that Ukraine could achieve a major breakthrough. However, some of the work may have been ordered by local commanders and civilian leaders in an attempt to promote the official narrative that Russia is threatened by Ukraine and NATO. 3. Ukraine bluntly stated that the explosion of the Crimean oil depot was intended to prepare for a full-scale attack. Mikhail Razvozhev, governor of Sevastopol, did his best to mitigate the damage in the fuel depot fire. However, the fact cannot be hidden that the fire has been going on for 18 hours, burning a very large amount of fuel. In a very rare case, Ukrainian troops officially claimed responsibility for causing the fire to destroy fuel used for the Black Sea Fleet. Newsweek published an article titled "Crimea Oil Depot Blast Was Preparation for Full-Scale Offensive, Ukraine," which means Ukraine claims the Crimean oil depot explosion was in preparation for an all-out assault. Ukraine's armed forces announced the attack on a fuel depot in the Crimea region annexed by Russia as part of preparations for the upcoming spring counteroffensive. A Russian-controlled oil storage facility in Sevastopol, the largest city in the Crimean Peninsula, burned violently early Saturday morning. Mikhail Razvozhev, the local governor of Sevastopol appointed by Moscow, later said that the incident was caused by an attack from 2 drones and that the fire that occurred at one point covered an area of 21,500 feet square. On Sunday, on the national 24-hour news program, Natalia Humeniuk, a spokeswoman for the Armed Forces of Ukraine, confirmed that the attack on the oil depot was carried out by Ukrainian forces in preparation for the broad, comprehensive offensive that everyone has been waiting for. Humeniuk further stated that enemy logistics have been sabotaged, and that Russian officials in the region are now trying to evacuate their families and leave Crimea themselves, in response to the attack. Russia invaded and annexed Ukraine's Crimea Peninsula in 2014. Although Russia continues to insist that the annexation was based on a referendum of Crimeans, the move has been condemned widely on the international stage, and many countries continue to recognize this peninsula as the land of Ukraine. During the recent year-long conflict with Russia, Ukrainian officials have frequently discussed the possibility of trying to retake Crimea as part of the fight to drive out the invading forces. Top Ukrainian government officials have claimed in recent weeks that Russian officials are fleeing the region ahead of the planned spring counterattack. In his statement on Saturday's oil depot incident, Razvoziv asserted that the attack did not injure anyone and that it would not have a disruptive effect on the energy situation in Crimea. "I want to emphasize again, the most important thing is that no one was injured," Razvoziv said. "As for the rest, we'll figure it out." Multiple reports of similar fires and attacks have emerged from Crimea over the past 6 months, particularly around Sevastopol. In addition to being Crimea's largest city, it is also a key port that serves as the main base for Russia's Black Sea Navy fleet. The nights in Ukraine can be a bit chilly in the spring, so the armed forces of Ukraine generously helped the Russian invaders warm up and invaded Sevastopol. Operation Starry Sky is the official Twitter account of a Ukrainian National Guard, recently tweeted about oil attacking the depot. Newsweek has reached out to foreign defense experts via email for insight and comment. 4. Russia attacked Pavlodar to hinder Ukraine's counterattack. Newsweek had an article titled "Russian strikes on Pavlodar aim to hamper Ukraine's counteroffensive," which means Russia attacked Pavlodar to hinder Ukraine's counteroffensive. The city of Pavlodar in eastern Ukraine was rocked by a massive explosion late Sunday night into Monday morning following a series of Russian attacks, with unconfirmed reports that ammunition depots and the railway floor was attacked. Serhiy Lysak, governor of Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk province, said an attack hit an industrial center and set off a fire, which was later extinguished. Video purporting to show the aftermath was posted on social media showing a massive inferno with billowing fire and smoke. Russian forces are continuing their assault on the Donbas city of Bakhmut, which they have been trying to capture for months amid growing speculation that the Ukrainian army is preparing for a major counteroffensive. Russia's state-owned TASS news agency reported that the airstrikes in Pavlodar had hit railway infrastructure, ammunition and fuel depots, citing Vladimir Rogov, a Ukrainian working as a Russian henchman. Is the head of the We With Russia movement in support of the Kremlin. Rogov added, "Locals told me about the massive attacks on railway infrastructure and fuel and ammunition depots, which Ukrainian fighters amassed for the counteroffensive." Overnight, a salvo of 11 Russian strategic bombers fired 18 missiles at targets in Ukraine, according to General Valery Zaluzny, the commander of the Ukrainian army. Zaluzny claimed 15 of these were destroyed by air defenses, including all targets aimed at Kiev, but confirmed Pavlodar was hit by rockets, injuring 34 people including 3 children. Timofey Milovanov, an advisor to the Ukrainian government and formerly Minister of Economy, speculated the attack could be in retaliation for Ukraine's attack on Russia's fuel depot in Crimea on Saturday. "The speculation of my uninformed observer is that Russia was confused by the Sevastopol attack," he wrote. "So it must hit something to propagate. Ukraine protects important assets and does not keep them centralized. So Russia hit something less relevant but flammable." Newsweek has reached out to both the Russian and Ukrainian defense ministries for comment via email. On Saturday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed Ukraine was planning a counterattack, in an interview with Scandinavian media. "There will be a counterattack, and I think it will succeed. I will not give details. Do we have enough weapons for that? I would say we are well on our way to the fact that we are about to have enough." Also on Saturday, Yevgeny Prigozhin, the commander of the Russian mercenary group Wagner, threatened to withdraw his troops from Bakhmut unless they received more ammunition. According to the Washington-based Institute for the Study of War, he warned Wagner forces would soon need to retreat in an organized manner or stay and die, and called on Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu to grant bullets immediately. 5. Putin trusts no one. Frequent commander changes have weakened the Russian military's capabilities and increased animosity with the military. Russian President Vladimir Putin's frequent change of command has undermined Moscow's ability to conduct a cohesive campaign in Ukraine, said General Mark Hertling, former commander of U.S. troops in Europe. As above, after Putin changed a series of personnel recently. From the outset of the invasion, Putin did not appoint an overall battlefield commander for his war. This has had multi-layered effects on the Russian military, including fostering strong factional divisions, disrupting command structures and fostering unattainable expectations. His initial reluctance to appoint a joint commander may have been related to Moscow's expectation at the start of the invasion that they would capture Kiev within days. According to General Mark Hertling, Putin may want to declare this swift invasion a personal geopolitical victory. Subsequent changes were either carefully covered up or announced by Putin and his defense ministry to protect themselves from criticism, while offering some generals as scapegoats for military defeats, to appease certain voices in the Russian information space, or to attempt to sell the Russian public petty territorial gains such as glorious victories. Meanwhile, the American Institute for the Study of War, or ISW for short, notes that Putin has long rotated personnel in government positions as a way to ensure that no one figure has too much political influence and maintain support among competing factions. Putin also often avoids outright firing officials but instead temporarily demotes them to encourage them to seek to win back his support and retain options for future appointments. The frequency of command changes hindering efforts to formalize command and control and the return of formerly demoted commanders who have failed miserably is likely to worsen the situation. Attach more importance to issues of prestige as well as operational efficiency of the Russian Ministry of Defense. 6. General Alexander Syrsky, commander of the Ukrainian army, said that the Ukrainian army was able to defeat the Russian army in several districts of the city of Bakhmut. During a press conference at the Kyiv Press Center on the afternoon of Monday, May 1, spokesman for the Ukrainian Air Force, Colonel Yuri Ianat, said that during the night of April 30 to the morning of May 1, Russian troops attacked Ukrainian territory with strategic aircraft, firing 18 cruise missiles. Around 2:30 a.m., the Russian invaders attacked the territory of Ukraine with strategic aircraft, 9 Tu-95 bombers from Olenogorsk of the Murmansk region and 2 Tu-160 bombers from the Caspian Sea. A total of 18 air-launched cruise missiles including Kh-101 and Kh-555 types were fired by the invaders. According to Colonel Yuri Ianat, the air defense units of the Ukrainian Air Force destroyed 15 Russian cruise missiles. But 3 rockets achieved their targets. Pavlodar district was badly affected. According to preliminary data, 25 people were injured, including 3 children. According to him, an industrial enterprise was damaged in Pavlodar. A fire broke out, but emergency services put it out. 19 apartment buildings, 25 detached houses, 6 secondary schools and preschools, and 5 shops were severely affected. In addition, devastation was recorded throughout the communities of Pavlodar district. About 40 residential houses in the community of Verbki, 2 houses in the community of Urivka, as well as a school in the community of Mesherik were damaged. All emergency services are working at the scene. Also at a press conference at the Kyiv Press Center on the afternoon of Monday, May 1, Ukraine's Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar quoted General Alexander Syrsky, commander of the Ukrainian army, as saying that Ukraine's counterattacks had repelled forces. Russian forces from several positions in the eastern city of Bakhmut are under attack, but the situation remains difficult. Over the past few months, the battle for Bakhmut has been at the heart of a conflict with little change on the front lines since late last year, leaving both sides looking for a breakthrough. The situation is quite difficult, said General Alexander Syrsky. At the same time, in some areas of the city, the enemy was counterattacked by our units and had to flee from some positions. Deputy Minister Hanna Maliar said General Syrsky made the remark while visiting frontline soldiers on Sunday, adding that the new Russian units, including paratroopers and fighters from the mercenary group Wagner, constantly thrown into battle, despite heavy losses. But the enemy cannot control the city, General Syrsky said. In an earlier press conference, Deputy Minister Hanna Maliar said that the supply routes were still secured but fraught with danger. The Ukrainian army struggled to carry out logistics operations in the dark, hoping to avoid being attacked. Shelling on the roads in and out of town. The greatest danger came from the vital supply route between the towns of Chasiv Yar and Kromov, which she had previously described as constant Russian shelling. Only armored vehicles can reach Bakhmut. So the situation is quite complicated. However, she emphasized that the situation of the Russian army was not much better. The Ukrainian Air Force and artillery continuously attacked the supply routes of Putin's troops. In the past 24 hours, 450 Russian soldiers have been eliminated from the battle along with 1 tank, 3 armored vehicles, 7 artillery systems, 3 troop transport vehicles and fuel. Overall, from February 24, 2022 to May 1, 190,960 Russian troops were eliminated from the battle. Total combat losses of the enemy also included 3,700 tanks, 7,192 armored vehicles, 2,921 artillery systems, 544 mass launch missile systems, 295 anti-aircraft combat systems, 308 aircraft, 294 helicopters, 2,476 drones, 932 cruise missiles, 18 warships, 5,845 troop and fuel transport vehicles, and 359 special equipment units. 7. The Russian army shelled the innocent civilians in Kherson 39 times with 163 shells. During a press conference at the Kyiv Press Center on the afternoon of Monday, May 1, the spokesman for the Ukrainian National Police, Captain Alyona Lyatnitska, said that in the past 24 hours, Russian invaders had attacked the Kherson region 39 times, fired 163 bullets. The Russian military has used heavy artillery, Grad multiple launch rocket systems, drones and even fighter jets. Kherson city was attacked 8 times. According to Alyona Lyatnitska, Russian shells hit residential areas throughout the settlements of the Kherson region. The building of a public institution was attacked in downtown Kherson. As a result of the Russian attacks, 1 civilian was killed and 3 people were injured, including a child. Meanwhile, 62 more people were evacuated from the invaded areas in the Kherson region in the past day. 8. Analysis: 72 hours of chaos shows Russia's lack of readiness for Ukraine's counterattack. Ukraine's much-anticipated counterattack seems imminent, and the way each side prepares says a lot about their readiness. Kyiv's frontline is buzzing with vehicle movement and artillery attacks, with frequent explosions hitting key Russian targets in the invaded areas. The country's defense minister said preparations were close to over and President Volodymyr Zelensky had assured a counterattack will happen, while ruling out any exact start date. It may have already started, it could be next week. We don't know, and in fact that was a powerful measure of Ukraine's success when this started. On the other hand, Moscow was in the middle of a bar brawl at the end of their fight. After losing Kharkiv and Kherson, they had at least 7 months to get ready for Ukraine's next target, Zaporizhia. It happened, with vast networks of trench defenses visible from the air. Admittedly, these trenches are huge. But this isn't necessarily a compliment in 2023. They're huge, yes, but they're also something anyone can dig up on Google. That's not a great thing in an age of precision rockets and lightning-fast armored advancements. But the past 72 hours have perhaps best betrayed Russia's lack of readiness. First, the most obvious was the dismissal of the deputy defense minister in charge of logistics, Mikhail Mizintsev. The Russian Defense Ministry did not announce his dismissal, but only published a decree that Alexei Kuzmenkov has now replaced his job. The Butcher of Mariupol, as Mizintsev's nickname is known around the world, has certainly had enough defeats in Russia's disastrous war to deserve his dismissal. But this does not satisfy the question, why now? By removing key ministers before their troops faced a Ukrainian counteroffensive, Moscow sent a message of chaos. And then there was a new round of criticism of Yevgeny Prigozhin. Mercenary Lord Wagner chose Sunday for another lengthy interview in which he outlined the severity of the problems his mercenaries faced. According to the head of Wagner, his warriors were so short of ammunition that they might have to withdraw from Bakhmut, the strategically unimportant city they had wasted thousands of lives trying to take. Prigozhin is not the most reliable source and provides little evidence for what he says. But this kind of public controversy is not something Moscow encourages at this sensitive time. Russia's eroding ammunition supply has long been known, but given this failure in the face of imminent counterattacks, it's clearly a major attempt at blame. The bottom line, the hours before Ukraine's total counteroffensive are shrinking. The amount we know about their emotional state or goals is almost nothing. On the contrary, the level of indecision, rivalry and disunity within Moscow is increasing. 9. Russian forces hit the town center in the northern Kharkiv region with rockets, the regional leader says. According to Ola Sinyhubov, head of the regional military administration, the missile hit the center of Kupiansk, the northern part of the front line in the Kharkiv region of Ukraine. A private house and garage were damaged, and a fire broke out. 4 cars were destroyed, Sinyhubov said on Telegram. Fortunately, there were no casualties. Ukrainian officials said the attack was fired from multiple rocket launchers and hit the city around 6:45 a.m. local time on Sunday, April 30th. Sinyhubov said the attack came a day after Russian forces opened fire on the Kharkiv, Chuiv and Kupiansk districts of the region. The regional leader added that teams are working in the liberated areas of Kharkiv to clear mines. Serhiy Lysak, governor of the Dnipropetrovsk region, said on Sunday Telegram, Russia also shelled Nikopol in southern Ukraine overnight, damaging 7 private houses, a power line, a minibus, a greenhouse and a car. Lysak said there were no casualties.